page 133-13. And before the Passover festival, Jesus knew that the time had come for him to pass from this world to the Father. He had loved his own in this world, and he loved them to the ends. So at supper, knowing that, though the devil had suggested to Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, the Father had put everything into his hands, knowing that he had come from God and was going to God. He rose from the table, laid aside his robe, and tied a towel around him, then poured water into a basin and began to wash the feet of the disciples, wiping them with the towel he had tied around him. He came to Simon Peter. "Lord," he said, "you too wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "You do not understand just now what I am doing, but you will understand it later on." Said Peter, "You will never wash my feet, never. Unless I wash you," Jesus replied, "you will not share my lot." "Lord," said Simon Peter, "then wash not only my feet, but my hands and head." Jesus said, "He who has bathed only needs to have his feet washed. He is clean all over. And you are clean, but not all of you." He knew the traitor. That was why he said, "You are not all clean." Then after washing their feet and putting on his robe, he lay down again. "Do you know," he said to them, "what I have been doing to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right. That is what I am. Well, if I have washed your feet, I who am your Lord and teacher, you are bound to wash one another's feet, for I have been setting you an example that you should do what I have done to you. Truly, truly, I tell you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than he who sent him. If you know all this, blessed are you if you really do it. When I say to you, I do not mean you all. I know the men of my choice, and I have made my choice that this scripture might be fulfilled. He who eats my bread has lifted up his heel against me. I am telling you this now before it occurs, so that when it has occurred, you may believe who I am. Truly, truly, I tell you, he who receives anyone I send receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me." On saying this, Jesus was disquieted in spirit. He testified, "Truly, truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at each other at a loss to know which of them he meant. As one of his disciples was reclining on his breast, he was the favorite of Jesus. Peter nodded to him, saying, "Tell us who he means." The disciple just leant back on the breast of Jesus and said, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "The man I am going to give this piece of bread to when I dip it in the dish." Then he took the piece of bread, dipped it, and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. And when he took the bread, at that moment Satan entered him. Then Jesus told him, "Be quick with what you have to do." None of those at the table understood why he said this to him. Some thought that as Judas kept the money box, Jesus told him to buy what they needed for the festival or to give something to the poor. So Judas went out immediately after taking the bread, and it was night. When he had gone out, Jesus said, 15, I am the real vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. He cuts away any branch on me which is not bearing fruit, and cleans every branch which does bear fruit to make it bear richer fruit. You are already clean by the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I remain in you, just as a branch cannot bear fruit by itself without remaining on the vine, neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who remains in me as I in him bears rich fruit, because apart from me you can do nothing. And if anyone does not remain in me, he is thrown aside like a branch, and he withers up. Then the branches are gathered and thrown into the fire to be burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, then ask whatever you like, and you shall have it. As you bear rich fruit and prove yourselves my disciples, my Father is glorified. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Remain within my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain within my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain within his love. I have told you this, that my joy may be within you and your joy complete. This is my command. You are to love one another as I have loved you. To lay life down for his friends, man has no greater love than that. You are my friends. If you do what I command you, I call you servants no longer, because a servant does not know what his master is doing. I call you friends, because I have imparted to you all that I have learned from my Father. You have not chosen me, it is I who have chosen you, appointing you to go and bear fruit that lasts, so that the Father may grant you whatever you ask in my name. This is what I command you, to love one another. The world hates you. Remember, it hated me first. If you belong to the world would love what it owned. It is because you do not belong to the world, because I have chosen you from the world, that the world hates you. Remember what I told you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you. If they hold to my word, they will hold to yours. They will do all this to you on account of my name, because they know not him who sent me. Not be guilty if I had not come and spoken to them. But as it is, they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates my Father also. They would not be guilty if I had not done deeds among them, such as no one has ever done. But as it is, they have seen, and they have hated both me and my Father. It is that the word written in their law may be fulfilled. They hated me for no cause. When the Helper comes, whom I will send to you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth who issues from the Father, he will bear witness to me, and you too are witnesses, for you have been with me from the very beginning. 16. I have told you all this to keep you from being repelled. They will excommunicate you. Indeed, the time is coming when anyone who kills you will imagine that he is doing God a service. This they will do to you, because they have not known the Father nor me. I have told you all this so that when the time for it arrives, you may remember what I said to you. I did not tell you about this at the beginning, because I was with you then, but now I am going to him who sent me. And yet not one of you asked, where are you going? No, your heart is full of sorrow at what I have told you. Yet I am telling you the truth. My going is for your good. If I do not depart, the Helper will not come to you. Whereas if I go, I will send him to you. And when he comes, he will convict the world, convincing men of sin, of righteousness, and of judgment. Of sin, because they do not believe in me, or righteousness, because I go to the Father, and you see me no more. Of judgment, because the prince of this world has been judged. I have still much to tell you, but you cannot bear it at present. However, when the Spirit of truth comes, he will lead you into all the truth. For he will not speak of his own accord. He will say whatever he is told, and he will disclose to you what is to come. He will glorify me, for he will draw upon what is mine and disclose it to you. All that the Father has is mine. That is why I say he will draw upon what is mine and disclose it to you. In a little while you shall behold me no longer. Then, after a little while, you shall see me. So some of his disciples said to one another, what does he mean by telling us, in a little while you shall behold me no longer? Then, after a little, you shall see me, and I go to the Father. They said, what is the meaning of in a little? We do not understand what he is saying. Jesus knew that they wanted to ask him, so he said to them, Is this what you are discussing together? Is this what you are discussing together? Why I said, in a little while you will not see me. Then after a little you shall see me. Truly, truly I tell you, you will be wailing and lamenting while the world is rejoicing. You will be sorrowful, but then your sorrow will be changed to joy. When a woman is in labor, she is sorry, for her time has come. But when the child is born, she remembers her anguish no longer, for the joy that a human being has been born into the world. So with you, just now you are in sorrow, but I shall see you again, and your heart will rejoice. with a joy that no one can take from you. And on that day you will not ask me any questions. Truly, truly I tell you, whatever you ask the Father, he will give you in my name. Hitherto you have asked nothing in my name. Ask, and you will receive, that your joy may be full. I have told you this in figures, but the time is coming when I shall speak to you in figures no longer. I shall let you know plainly about the Father. On that day you will ask in my name, and I do not say that you. I'm out of coffee. I shall let you know plainly. But the time is coming when I shall speak to you in figures no longer. I shall let you know plainly about the Father. On that day you will ask in my name, and I do not say to you that I will ask the Father on your behalf, for the Father loves you himself, because you have loved me and believed that I came forth from God. From the Father I came, and I entered the world. Again I leave the world, and I go to the Father. His disciples said, Now you are talking plainly at last, not speaking in figures. Now we are sure that you know everything and need no one to put questions to you. This makes us believe you have come forth from God. Jesus replied, You believe it at last. Behold, the time is coming. It has already come already, when you will be scattered to your homes, every one of you, leaving me alone. But I am not alone, for the Father is with me. I have said all this to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you have trouble, but courage. I have conquered the world. Now, at last, the Son of Man is glorified, and in him God is glorified. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify him in himself and glorify him at once. Dear children, I am only to be with you a little longer, then you will look for me. And as I told the Jews, I tell you now, where I go, you cannot come. I give you a new command, to love one another as I have loved you. You are to love one another. By this, everyone will recognize that you are my disciples, if you have loved one for another. Lord, said Simon Peter, where are you going? Jesus replied, I am going where you cannot follow me at present. Later on, you are to follow me. Lord, said Peter, why can I not follow you just now? I will lay down my life for you. Jesus replied, Lay down your life for me. Truly, truly I tell you, before the cock crows, you will have disowned me thrice over.